Hi, I'm Joy.
Hi, I'm Lorraine.
And this is Girlish Gurus. And Lorraine, why are we here?
We're here to talk about mid-lifestyle topics for women who are 45 and older to help you live your best, healthiest, and most fulfilled life. We're also going to have lots of fun along the way.
So let's get started. Welcome back to another episode of Girlish Gurus. I'm Joy.
And I'm Lorraine.
Lorraine. Oh, what are we talking about today?
Childhood dreams and crushes.
Oh, I cannot wait.
And just a little spoiler, because we're going to get into it later. But I just returned from meeting my childhood crush. And it's been probably 52 years since I saw this person in concert and had their posters all over my wall.
Oh.
And it was magical.
I know it. I know it was. I was so happy when you told me and you were so excited and so happy for you.
So you have to listen to the end of the episode to find out who it is.
And check out our YouTube channel. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So, childhood dreams and childhood crushes, right?
So, Joy, what were some of your childhood dreams?
Okay. Childhood dreams.
And when we say dreams, we're talking about maybe your aspirations, who you wanted to be, what you wanted to do.
Right.
Where you wanted to go.
Okay, so part of this episode that's going to be entertaining is you're a baby boomer, right?
Yes.
And I'm a Gen Xer.
Yep.
You were probably,
12 years ahead.
Yeah, 12 years ahead of me?
Yeah.
Okay. My experience from my childhood was basically in the late 70s, early 80s, because I was born in 1972. So for me, my dreams as a child and aspirations were largely shaped by what I was watching on TV. And a good amount by what I was reading. So for me, that meant Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys. Huge Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys fan. Which, by the way, did you know Nancy Drew was written by a collection of writers?
Oh, really? I didn't know.
But anyway, I digress. So Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys. I was also a huge Wonder Woman and Bionic Woman fan. And I love me some Scooby-Doo. Hanna-Barbera, Saturday morning cartoons. Those things kind of shaped my dreams and aspirations. So, in no particular order, here's what I wanted to be when I was a kid.
Okay.
I wanted to be a private detective. I wanted to be Wonder Woman. And I wanted to write stories about Scooby-Doo.
Cool.
And other kind of like superhero-y type magical things.
Cool.
What about you?
So, similar kind of things where what I was watching and doing, and music played a big part of it.
Oh, yeah.
I loved the 60s music. So I grew up in the 60s and early 70s was when all of my original aspirations came about. So a couple of things. I love to sing and dance. And then this particular person who I met was very inspirational. And we actually created a group that encompassed their music and would dance. We actually performed in variety shows. We had our very own assembly at my elementary school. We went and we just asked the music teacher, can we do a show? And he said, okay, I'll give you a half hour.
Oh my God, you could have been Beyonce.
And were we good? I don't know. I felt like we were really good, but and we basically sang to the song with the vocals playing in the background, and the kids loved it. I mean, they got out of class, so what's not to love?
Of course, right?
So that was fun. But then what I really thought I wanted to do, and this for many years I did until I went to my biology class, I wanted to be a veterinarian. I loved animals. I couldn't have enough animals. I rescued cats. We had dogs. That went on even after I had a family. We had many animals. Don't have any right now because I have grandchildren now that I need to travel to visit, so I can't have pets. Grandchildren are so much better.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But
sometimes they do act like animals. But that's okay. We love them.
But I really wanted to be a veterinarian. And then I took biology class and had to dissect things. And then I decided,
no,
this is not for me. Plus the fact I could not bear the thought of having to put animals down.
Oh, yeah.
So I continue to love animals. I volunteered at animal shelters. I've adopted dogs from shelters. So that's where the extent of that went. But then like you, I also thought I would want to write. And I loved writing short stories. I loved O. Henry. So I kind of loved to write like those ironic ending kind of short stories when I was in school. And then I put that on the back burner and got married, had a family, went into business with my husband. And it wasn't until I was 55 that I wrote my first book. But I did it.
You did. That's right.
I did it. So my dream finally came true, and I'm writing a second one.
Well, okay. I never became a private detective, but I did become a lawyer.
Right.
Okay.
Which could be the same thing sometimes.
I don't know. There's a person on Instagram who is a private detective, and she is hysterical. She has a podcast too. She is hysterical. The story she tells about what it's like being a private detective. Now, she does work a lot with lawyers because a lot of what you're doing as a private detective is you are collecting evidence, say, for example, in fraud claims or personal injury actions, or in a lot of family law cases like the cheating spouse and stuff like that, right? So, yeah, she does work hand in hand with the legal community pretty closely, but I don't know that I could actually do what she does. It takes some gravitas to do that. Which I give her total props and credit. And she says that part of the reason why she became a private detective is because someone told her, you can't do it because you're female. And a lot of people told me, yeah, you can go study creative writing, and you can. I almost had enough English credits to have a minor in English when I graduated from undergraduate school, but I was short one class. And the reason I didn't stick it out or tack another class on is because I was told, you have to get out and you've got to figure out a job that you can do to support yourself.
We all hear that, don't we? Yeah.
You can't make money as a creative writer. You can't make money as a content creator, which there was no such thing as a content creator back then.
Right.
But you can't do this, you can't do that. You have to do what society says you need to do in order to make a living, because you're not going to get paid to do that. Only a unicorn gets paid to be a writer, like Stephen King or Amy Tan or O. Henry or those big names, right? So I put my dream about being a writer on the back burner and went to law school instead, because that was the safe bet. That was the safe thing to do, to be able to support myself, to be able to make money and meet the social standard of, oh, you've got a real job, you are therefore worthy of respect, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. And actually, this one article that we have called Childhood Aspirations Are an Important Driver of Achievement Later in Life, I think they cited some studies where they followed 17,000 people born in the same week in 1958, my birth year. And they have done 10 surveys since then, with these group of people. Socioeconomic reasons were some of the reasons why they went to certain ways. Like
Same here.
Yeah. So this one study that I was referring to, as far as like what you were just talking about, they asked these kids, let me see if I could find the actual survey. Early surveys also asked participants' parents about their aspirations for their kids, and teachers similarly predicted the children's future achievements. So in other words, what the parents wanted for their kids kind of predicted where the kids were going to go.
Yes, I can see that, because my parents told me, they drilled it into me as a kid. Get an education, get an education, get an education. That's the only answer. Get an education. And I did.
Yeah. So they said, for example, nearly all the participants stated at age 7 that they wanted to continue schooling, but by the age of 11, only 22% of children from the bottom economic quintile,
which we were,
said they wanted to continue beyond school leaving age, while 40% of children from the top socioeconomic quintile said they wanted to have a university degree. And then it said, however, the researchers also found that the influence of parents and teachers impacted on the formation of aspirations above the socioeconomic background of families and their own abilities. That is, parents' desires for their children's future were a stronger influence on their aspirations and eventually their achievements than their socioeconomic background.
But I wonder about that, because I was always good at school. I mean, I could just do school, not math and science for the most part, but even that I could kind of struggle through. But I knew, since I couldn't be a creative writer, since I couldn't live in Scooby-Doo's world, that my only other answer was to go to school. And I knew I would excel at school. And so I knew I was going to keep going.
Yeah.
So to me, I felt like I had no safety net. But my parents did. I heard loud and clear that message: go to school, get an education.
Yeah, yeah. again, these are baby boomers we're talking about, these studies, right? They were my era. I think things have changed now, that kids, I feel are more, I don't know if the right word is independent of their parents' aspirations for them. Like, in other words, that I think they maybe seek and follow their dreams a little bit more than maybe the baby boomers did. I think we were more influenced by our parents, and I don't know if the word is listen to our parents, but I think I see like a little bit of a change that way.
I do too, but I think that's because kids today now have access, their worlds are much bigger.
Yeah. And they're bombarded daily with so much information. So they're not only getting information from their teachers and their parents, they're getting information from the world nonstop all day long.
Right. I think you're right about that. I think that there is definitely a change in how kids today see the world. And I don't know, your kids are in their 30s, right?
Almost 40, my oldest.
Really?
This year.
Wow.
In May.
Wow. Well, happy birthday. So I guess your kids would be millennials?
Yes, I think my son might have been like right at the beginning of the millennial, right?
Well,
I don't know.
So maybe you would have a different perspective on that because I don't have any children. But I do see my nieces and nephews and how they are looking at the world. And they do listen to their parents a fair amount, but they also have a window into a wider world than kids ever have before.
Yeah.
Because they've got access to the internet on their phones.
Yeah.
Basically. We didn't have that. I had to look around me at what was in my immediate orbit, or I had to look at what I was learning in school. And so for me, the best part of school was reading class. I loved it so much.
Yeah.
So I wanted to head down that path, go in that direction.
Yeah. I love to read. I think that was where the fantasy world came in to a degree, like some of the dreams, not that they were exactly fantasy, but you could picture yourself being in that world. Like, so I think that was a lot of the inspiration. So even though they were fictional stories or whatever, I think, I would love to do that. I would love to be like that. And I think that's where my love of travel came in too, because I would read things from everywhere, people traveling the world. And I just like, that really was a dream of mine. I don't know if I ever shared this story, but when I was like 11 or 12, we were planning our first and only camping trip in the family. But my dad put me in charge of it, right? This is before the internet. And I just loved to research, investigate. And I wrote to so many Chamber of Commerces all over, from all these towns up through New York.
How old were you?
Into Canada, 11.
Wow.
So I wrote, I would like information, So I guess I went to the library and I must have found the addresses or whatever. And so I got all these brochures, whatever. And that was where my love first started. And my dad just gave me full reign. Okay, you just pick where we're going to go and get all the information. Wow. And so we did this camping trip. Camping was not for us.
No. Yep.
But the places that we went to.
It's not for me either, just so you know.
I know. And the old thing, my husband says, like every husband about camping with their wife, camping is like no hairdryer or a bad hotel room. I don't know.
Well, to me, it's just like extra work on your vacation, you know?
Yeah. That's what I feel, right? I want a vacation. I want a vacation. But we did stop at really beautiful places. I mean, we camped alongside Lake Ontario and things like that. So it was beautiful. Just not the best experience all around. But I just felt so proud of myself that I got all those brochures.
I'm proud of you
went
too.
To all those places.
11.
Yeah.
Incredible.
But so since then, I've just loved travel. It's just like such a big part. And thankfully, my husband feels the same way too, because I guess that's been our dream. And so
together.
Yeah,
you guys travel all the time.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, kind of along those same lines, for me, the whole storytelling thing, which is something that I always loved. And that's also what has kind of manifested into my creative content situation. So I do 2 podcasts. Oh, and I also eventually did write a book. I've actually written a couple of books. Only one of them has been published, and I self-published it. Yes, that's right. You can find Lorraine's book on themagicofmenopause.com, and you can find my book on Amazon. It's Money Basics, and go check it out. We'll put links in the show notes.
Yeah.
But I also think that part of becoming a lawyer and part of my whole content creator journey has evolved out of my love of storytelling. And it's also kind of like performing, but not really. So the other podcast I do, Everyday Macaroni, is me and my sister-in-law. We're talking about the Monday night family dinners we have with my in-laws, her parents. and we tell stories and we laugh, and it's kind of a performance thing in a way.
Yeah.
And so that satisfies my inner ham, I guess.
Yeah. It's so funny that you said that because I didn't even think about that aspect of it, right? I loved to be on stage and sing and dance, and now I'm a content creator also, right? And doing those silly reels here and there, but also providing information. And So, I never really thought about that. So that's satisfying one of my dreams a little bit.
Well, you and your singing group back in the day, middle school maybe, that should have been a red flag, or maybe a pink and purple flag. Since we're talking about our childhood dreams and all that kind of stuff, today I thought I would put on my favorite color combination as a kid, pink and purple. So I have a pink t-shirt and my purple. Can you see it? We're on YouTube as well, so you can go check it out. It's, not that exciting. But I did think it would be fun.
Yeah.
I used to love the pink and purple eyeshadow and the pink and purple. Yes. Mm-hmm. Some kids were rainbow kids. I was a pink and purple. So here I am with my pink and purple. Oh, I know. But I am a ham. And I think, Lorraine, you're a little bit of a ham too.
I'm a little bit.
You're more of a capicola.
Right.
A prosciutto. Maybe a salami. You're from Sicily, right? No, that's rich.
Yeah. No, both,
you.
Yeah, both of us.
What kind of?
I'm not from Sicily. My dad's family's from Sicily.
Okay.
And actually, Rich's dad was born in Sicily.
Okay. Yeah. So what kind of meat comes from Sicily? Because that's what you are.
Probably all of those things. Braciole and
there you go.
Yeah.
You're braciole. Okay. So that celebrates a little bit of the performer aspect, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of interesting how all of that creativity is manifesting itself now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there was this other article that I found. And this one is called, "What Do Your Childhood Dreams and Career Goals Say About You?" Mm-hmm. So right off the bat, they say you probably still love the things you loved as a child.
And there it is.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I would still watch Scooby-Doo every day of the week. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I could still watch Scooby-Doo.
I love Scooby-Doo.
It says, "We are who we are. Sure, we grow and change and our interests mature over time, but there is still a fundamental part of our character and personality that we've always carried with us."
Yes.
So true, right?
Oh my gosh. Interesting.
Okay, it said, "Did your goals and dreams really change, or did you just start to doubt yourself?"
Oh, now we're getting into the meat of it here. Mm-hmm. Okay, so here we get to the dark underbelly of, I guess, society.
Crushing us.
Right. The big hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think in some ways, unfortunately, our teachers, our parents, or whoever may say, well, maybe you ought to think about this. And maybe in their eyes, you weren't very good at something that maybe you had a dream about, and they were kindly trying to, push you in a different direction. Of course, there were parents who were just like, no, this is what you're going to do, and I want you to do this. But I could see, and even other influences, even our peers could kind of maybe squash, jealousy or just bullying, those kinds of things. So I guess there are different things that can really crush our dreams. Yeah. So in here they say sometimes we do outgrow, some of our childhood dreams. For example, maybe you wanted to be a famous singer when you were a kid, but over time you realized that fame wasn't actually something you wanted. This was just a fun idea. Well, for me, I still wanted fame. At the time, I just realized I couldn't sing really well.
Yeah, I always wanted to be a lounge singer.
Yeah.
I'm not the greatest singer, but what I lack in talent, I make up for in vivacity.
I still love to sing, and I will still do it, and I entertain our friends all the time. As a matter of fact, they get a lot of laughs from me on our vacations because any of those old Motown songs or 60s
you
pop
know them
hits,
all. Yes.
And they don't even know a lot of them. And they're like, I can't believe you know this song. And I do it, and I'll sing it.
Pop music.
Yeah, it was a big part of my life. And fortunately, when I was growing up in the 60s and 70s, my mom worked for Sam Goody. I don't know if anybody knows. So that was a big record store back then. I don't even know if they're around anymore.
I don't know.
Any albums we wanted. When our heartthrobs put an album out, she would bring it home.
And would bring it home.
She would bring it home. And so we had access to music, to tickets, to shows because she was able to get tickets. So music was a big part of our lives. Yeah.
What's
still is. I mean, I still love it.
What's the best concert you've ever been to?
I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, not just yet, right? Maybe later? I know what you're going to say. Okay, all right. Let's keep going, and then we'll talk about it.
I've been to many, and many are good. And actually, one of my favorite singers was Linda Ronstadt.
Oh, amazing singer.
And
yeah,
I
great
saw
voice.
her like 3 or 4 times in concert. She was fabulous. And unfortunately, now I think she has Parkinson's. Wonderful documentary, if you get a chance to see it, all about her life. Probably on YouTube, I think you can find it, or Netflix.
But amazing voice.
Oh my gosh, I loved her. Loved her.
Yep.
So her concerts were some of the best.
Yeah. Never got a chance to see her in concert, but I did enjoy listening to her growing up. Because for me, my experience with music was what we listened to on the radio. So it was always top 40. Because that was a big event. I mean, that was a big part of our entertainment growing up. We would get in the car, drive around, and listen to the radio.
So since we were talking a little bit about show business and all of that, so what were some of your childhood crushes?
Ooh, childhood crushes. Got to go back to the Hardy Boys. Because there used to be a TV show with the Hardy Boys, and they were played by Parker Stevenson and Sean Cassidy. And I loved me some Sean Cassidy. He was my fave.
And I loved David Cassidy, his big brother. That was one of my heartthrobs. The Partridge Family.
Yeah, he was a little...
Too old for you.
Not just too old, but he was a little wild, Lorraine.
Oh, okay.
He was a little too wild for me.
He was a little too wild.
But the younger one, I could totally deal with. And he had such nice hair.
Yeah.
And now I think he's a producer. I don't know if he's doing any more acting, but I think he's a director and a producer. And he was a singer for a while too. He put out records.
Right.
Ooh, I can't remember the songs now. Do you remember the songs? You do. Come on.
I don't remember Sean Cassidy songs.
He was my favorite. How could you not remember?
I do not remember. But I do remember the Partridge Family. Doesn't somebody want to be wanted by me?
The Partridge Family. Oh boy. Well, so that was one. I'm trying to think. That's the big one that I can remember.
Yeah.
Because then, about the time I started school, that's when I noticed the little fellas around me, and that's when I was,
more interested in them
and what was local and real. But my all-time favorite when I was growing up was Sean Cassidy.
Yeah, he was a cutie.
He was cute.
Yeah,
yeah. He was cute. For a little while, I did enjoy Andy Gibb. He was
one of the Bee Gees brothers,
famous singer. Him and Victoria Principal, and they had that big, romantic relationship and everything. And we were all more so. I was fascinated by their romantic relationship. But I did like his songs, and I liked him. I thought he was a cutie. Gee, I'm trying to think.
So these are probably too old for you too. Bobby Sherman. Do you remember Bobby Sherman from Here Come the Brides?
No.
Okay, so he was a big one with the baby boomer generation, I guess. And David Cassidy.
I think my sister really liked David Cassidy a lot.
Yeah. I would say Bobby Sherman, David Cassidy, and
dun dun dun,
Donny Osmond.
So they call it puppy love.
And I had it big time.
Oh, yeah, Lorraine. Here we go. Now we get into the part of the podcast where Lorraine talks about her puppy love.
My puppy love. So from the time I was probably, I'm thinking 10 or 11, and just so you know, Donny Osmond and I are very close to the same age.
I thought you were going to say very close friends.
No, he's 6 months older than me. But so
you both look great.
Well, thank you. So when he was performing with the Osmond brothers in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s, I was like 11, 12 or whatever. And he was so cute. And what a voice. Which now...
He's a great performer.
Extremely great performer. The first time I ever saw him and his brothers in concert was at Madison Square Garden. And I think it was 1971. I can't be sure exactly. But my grandfather worked in Manhattan, so he walked over there and got tickets for us at Madison Square Garden. Because he really he thought they were a wholesome kind of group. And he was...
And they were.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So he went and got us tickets. But by the time he got there were very few tickets left. So we actually sat in the very last row behind them at Madison Square Garden.
In the nosebleed seats.
Yeah. But we didn't care. We were screaming the entire time. All the girls were screaming. And because we were sitting in those seats, every so often, all the boys would turn around and wave to the girls in the back. So we actually got their attention specifically a few times during that concert. that was probably, because that was probably my first concert, that was probably the best concert.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I was so in love with Donny Osmond.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, he was a very cute kid.
Yeah.
And he's, still a very good looking man. Yeah.
So
I love the Donny and Marie show.
yeah.
I loved it.
Very corny. It kind of reminds me of the Carol Burnett show, like their skits and stuff, like funny, cute, and entertaining.
With a little Lawrence Welk thrown in. My mother loved Lawrence Welk. And weren't they all on at the same type of hour? Now, the Donny and Marie show I thought was on during the week, but Lawrence Welk was on Sunday afternoon,
I think
right?
So. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And originally the Osmonds started, I think, on the Andy Williams show, because he discovered them. I think it was Andy Williams' dad, I think that's how the story goes, discovered them singing barbershop quartet at Disneyland.
Oh, really?
And he brought them to Andy Williams, and so he put them on the show, and they became a hit.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then they went on their own and did all the pop music and everything. So recently, I saw that he was going to be in Vegas. So I convinced my husband, which I was shocked he actually agreed to go, but he's such a good guy. He said, sure, okay, and convinced a good friend of mine who happened to be in my singing group back in middle school. She and her husband also decided they would come with us. And so we booked like a 4-day trip to Vegas. We were going to see Santana also. And they agreed to come see Donny. And then my niece contacted me because she works for a talent agency. And she said, oh, Donny's part of our agency now. I think he's going to be going on tour at some point. So I said, I already have tickets, but can you get us better tickets?
Right.
So she arranged for these really good seats for us to see him at Harrah's, and we couldn't have been more thrilled. And so the whole time I'm thinking, are we going to get to meet him? We went to dinner that night to Gordon Ramsay's restaurant in the hotel there. And the waitress said, Donny's coming in because she knew we were going to the concert. She said, Donny's coming in for dinner later tonight. So we're like, okay, we're going to come back after the concert and sit at the bar and see if we can see him and say hello. And she came over a little while later and she said, he just finished dinner. We thought it was going to be later. She said, and I told him you were over here. And I asked if he would come over and say hello. She said, but he had to get to the VIP show, so he couldn't. I'm like, okay, well, thank you. So we go to the concert.
There goes your chance, right? Yeah.
Right.
That's what you're thinking.
That's what I'm thinking. So we go to the concert. It was great, so entertaining. I highly recommend anyone who's in Vegas, if you want to see a good show, go to see Donny Osmond. And near his last number, this woman came over to our table and she leaned in and she said, is there a Lorraine at this table? Oh my gosh. I was like, I got giddy all of a sudden. I'm like, yes. And she goes, okay, when this number's over, follow me and we're going to go back through those curtains over there. I'm like, okay.
Yay.
I was like, I really felt like a little kid. I really did. And talk about like a childhood dream or whatever, just meeting somebody, right? So we go back there and Donny comes back and there were 2 other people that were meeting him. So thankfully he talked to them first. So then we could get our nerve up a little bit.
Get yourself in hand, yes.
And that gave us a little extra time. We didn't feel rushed. And so he finished talking to them and then said, okay, who's Lorraine? So I had Donny Osmond say my name.
I love it.
Very cute. So he was the kindest person, gave us his full attention. We did not feel rushed out of there at all. Took pictures with him. My husband and my girlfriend's husband, they wanted pictures with him too, which I thought was great. Everybody thought he was so nice. My husband said he's a lifetime fan now. He said because he was so entertaining.
Rich is such a good guy. Yeah. He really is.
And he said, you know what? He goes, he really was so nice and really, really paid attention. Like when he spoke to you, looked in your eyes. Was, it wasn't like, okay, let's get this over with kind of thing. It was so nice. And just to have met my childhood, I guess, idol was just so much fun. It was just so much fun.
Yeah.
Forever, I will remember.
I know it. You're never going to wash that hand, right? Yeah. I can't remember. Was it the Brady Bunch where Marcia, she's like, I'm never going to wash somebody kissed her or something. Kissed her on the cheek or something. I'm never going to wash my face again.
Yeah.
Marcia. I love that. I'm so happy for you. You were so excited.
Yeah. So it's very interesting. So I was thinking, what can I research to find out about like how childhood crushes might affect you, whatever. And unfortunately, there's a bad side to it, right? Because people become very obsessed.
Yeah.
So there's that side of it. But there are good sides to it, too, because they said it gives people connection, like a social connection. They might inspire you in some way, as long as it doesn't become like an obsessive, compulsive thing where it's really affecting your life
Or you
and your relationships.
You believe you're going to actually have a relationship with that person. And then I've heard bad stories about stalkers doing crazy things to their celebrity crushes and things like that. But it's like anything else. Too much of a good thing is not a good thing.
Yeah.
But if you have balance and you see it for what it is.
I mean, it's a normal part, right? I mean, so many people have even as adults, they have their little crushes on, and it could be a gal pal or a
sports figure.
Yeah, I mean, so many different ways. But obviously, if it interferes with your life, and one of the things they say is, especially for like a celebrity idol, if you're comparing them to your spouse, your significant other, of course,
that's a problem.
Yeah.
So if it's costing you too much money, or if it's affecting your relationship, or if it's causing you to be off balance in some way, then that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's just like anything else. You have to take it with a grain of salt and see it for what it is. But it can also be a very, very good thing, because it can not just give you a community or a social connection. It can also give you something to shoot for. And I'm not talking about like, oh, I think that guy's so cute or whatever. And by the way, I did marry the cutest boy in the world.
Right.
So
you did.
Sean Cassidy, eat your heart out.
Right.
Nobody's cuter than Ron. No. Nobody.
No.
So
maybe Rich.
But so for me, I enjoy that memory, and I really liked the story, the Hardy Boys stories and all of that. Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys. I really loved the story so much. And watching a character come to life for me was such a big deal. And it gave me the idea that, oh, maybe I can do this too. And that for me was huge. That gave me not just escapism, but it gave me a kind of plan, something to shoot for, an idea, a course of action to a certain extent. So that's where the value was. And I knew he was just a teeny bopper kind of heartthrob. I knew that. And I got a kick out of looking at the magazines and all that kind of stuff. But I really never saw that as, oh, maybe someday we'll meet and get married.
No. Yeah. Of course, as a little girl, you think that, like 11 or 12 years old, you hope that you're going to meet them or whatever.
I guess anything is possible.
Yeah. But it did provide me with a lot of entertainment, a lot of activity, physical activity, because we danced and danced and danced to that music. And just really, I think it kept us out of trouble a little bit, because we had so much fun doing all those things and creating dances and just like this little group of girls just really getting together and having fun.
You and the other why nods. No.
You nods.
You nods. Oh, but didn't you tell him about that when you met him?
I did. Okay, so that is Donny backwards, for those of you who haven't figured that out yet. So that was the name of our group.
Lorraine, that's so funny.
So maybe we were a little OCD. I don't know.
know.
But so that's what we named our group. And I actually told Donny that story.
And he said what?
And he giggled a little. Like he laughed. He's like, really? I said it provided a lot of entertainment.
Didn't he say, though, it should have been the E-nods?
Yeah, Donny. So he said E-nod. And
Shouldn't it have been Enod?
Yeah.
Good for him for playing along.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that.
And there's a picture which will be in the video.
Right. So we've already posted the video. Go check it out on our YouTube channel. We made a little video about Lorraine's obsession with Donny Osmond.
And you'll see my arm around my girlfriend talking to Donny. And that's the moment we were telling him about the Yanods.
Yanods.
And we actually used to say Yanods, but it really is not Donny. But it's Yanods.
Donny. Oh, so good. Yeah. I'm so happy for you. I know that was wonderful.
It was fun. It was fun.
Anybody out there listening, I surely would love to meet Sean Cassidy, mostly just to pick his brains.
Yeah.
Because he's in that industry and he's a creator as well. And so that would be cool to get to talk to somebody who's also a creator. In a way, I've kind of always been a performer, and I think you have too.
Yeah, I think so.
And I cannot wait. I hope we have some feedback about the Donny Osmond video.
Yeah.
So fun.
And I forgot to send you. I also have pictures of my dancing group. We can
Yes,
throw, we
you
can
put
throw
that
a few
on
in those.
Instagram. I saw it on Instagram.
We can stick a few of those in that video too.
You bet.
And we're wearing purple, and just so you know, that's Donnie's favorite color.
Really? Because I'm wearing purple today
Yes.
over top of my pink.
Yeah. It's his favorite color, purple.
Oh, that's good to know. Oh, Donnie, I love you.
And I just want to give a
You're my
big
hero.
shout out to Donnie. So hopefully we'll meet you again. And to especially my niece for making it all happen.
Oh, yeah.
Elena, I love you.
Yes. I have met her, and she is delightful.
Yes.
And I love her Instagram feed. It cracks me up.
At Elena Latona.
Yeah. Very, very good. Go check it out.
Yeah.
She's a performer, too.
And she's a beautiful girl.
Oh, yes. She is beautiful. I'm telling you, I don't know why she's not in Hollywood already. I really don't.
Yeah.
Well, this has been so much fun. I could not wait to do this podcast episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
There's so much more we could talk about. So we'll have to save it for another episode.
For sure.
Yeah.
But make sure you head over to our YouTube channel and check out that video. And make sure you give it a like and a share and a subscribe, because that helps us create more content.
Yeah.
So please do. And you can also watch our podcast over there on YouTube as well.
Yeah. And we'd love to hear who your celebrity crushes were.
Please, in the comments.
And your
Yes.
childhood dreams.
Oh, yes, please. I would love to hear that. Put it in the comments. You can head over to YouTube and put it in the comments over there. Oh, yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait to hear. That's going to be entertaining.
Yeah.
Oh, Lorraine. You're always a delight.
You too.
So fun. I'm so glad you got to meet Donny Osmond.
Me too.
You know what? That makes me believe anything is possible.
Yeah. Manifesting. I'm all about manifesting.
Yep. Me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
All right, Joy.
I don't think it gets any better than that.
No. No.
All right. Well, signing off with puppy love.
Yes. And one bad apple don't spoil the whole bunch, girl.
We'll see you in the next one.
Maybe down by the lazy river.
Yeah. I don't know that one.
Oh, you need to know that one.
Really? In a van down by the lazy river?
In a van down by
Yeah, don't you know Chris Farley from Saturday Night Live? In a van down by the river. So that's me putting two things together.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
I was 12.
Oh, long before Chris Farley was on Saturday Night Live. All right. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. Bye, Donnie.
Kisses, hugs. Thanks for listening to this episode of Girlish Gurus. We hope you'll join us next time for more fun and inspiration. Be sure to check the description of this episode for links and information about the topic, and you can find us on our social media platforms starting with Instagram, Facebook, and now including YouTube. You can find us by searching Girlish Gurus, and you can also check out our website, girlishgurus.com, for more information on us, our projects, books, and our growing community.
And don't forget to download this episode, give it a good review, and share it with your girlfriends. We would also love to hear from you in the comments, because the more interaction we get, the more episodes we can post. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.